All right, welcome back everyone for our final video. I'm going to do this a little different. I'm going to add a little soundtrack to it. And I wanted to show you the objects that we are going to create. First of all, the object target. And we have 3 events that go with it: create, left pressed, and outside of room. On create, we're going to set a horizontal speed of 12, which is going to move it at 12 pixels per frame towards the right. And then when we get outside of the room, it'll just destroy itself. And then if we press it, we will add to our score and get destroyed. And let's show you the object target bullets is a very similar one. The big difference is that our speed is a negative 12. We're going to start on the right and move to the left. And then on the left down, we're going to set 3 more lives. We're going to make sure it's relative. Then we'll destroy it. And of course, if it gets outside of the room, we're going to destroy it as well. The reason why we're doing that is because it's going to be moving, and if it goes outside of the room and we don't destroy it, it'll just keep going and going and going, and pretty soon we're going to add lots of these instances, and it's going to slow down our memory. We're also going to modify the timeline, and if you look on here, you can see some of the new times that we've added on the timeline. 90, 115, 225, I believe. No, I'm sorry, 270, and then we're going to push the one that was at 300 to 350, and so we're going to create these 2 objects at various points, and I just want to kind of point out what they do when you create an instance. We're going to use iRandom. Actually, not this one. Let me show you the one that uses object target, for example. We're going to use iRandom range, and that allows us to do the starting and stopping point. We don't have to put a plus 100 if we don't want to. So I just wanted to point that out. In the video, I'm just going to do it fast. You're going to watch. I'm just going to have some music in the background so you can see how I go about creating them. By this point, you should already know how to make these objects, and you've already seen what makes them different. The last thing you're going to notice is that I work with Git. And in Git, I am going to basically take all of our changes, merge them back into master, and we're going to tag the master branch once everything is done with a version 1.0. And then that will be basically our stable release of the game. So you're going to see how I work Git to do that as well. So at the very end, I'll give you some suggestions for what you can do to make your game a better game. So stay tuned for that, and thanks for watching ahead of time.
Slowly we kiss 'cause we're
Okay, so once you have your game up to where it is, if you want to add some more items to enhance the game, there's a lot of assets that we haven't tapped into that are still part of the list of assets, and I'll show you those in a moment. Some of the things you could do is have a countdown timer that every second it counts down. You can give it like, I don't know, maybe a 2 minute game, and then it just keeps going down, and then at the end, it ends the game. And whatever your score is, that's what you get unless you run out early. So that would be one way of sort of enhancing this game to make it a little more exciting, maybe. The other thing you could do is come up with different. You could just straightforward modify the timeline and create other targets. You can have them move up or move down, giving them a vertical speed. You can also create trajectories by creating paths and having them follow paths. You could have like dangerous objects. If you hit those, then it hurts your score, and just any number of different things. Let's take a look at some of the assets that you have available in the game that you could tap into. So we'll take a look at it's the folder under assets, it's extra art, and it comes with if you have downloaded a zip from my online repository, you would have these available. There's some heads up display things that you can do. You can play around with different crosshair sizes. You can have it change color when you are clicking. Other kinds of icons if you want to use. We even have numbers for doing countdown, count up. We have a ready and go. There's just a lot we can do. We can have the time up. Let's take a look at some of the objects you have available. Other kinds of ducks. You can have the duck that flips around. That's why we have the duck back and the duck brown. And if I were to do that, I would play around with switching sprites on various occasions. You could have a timer, then when it hits the time, it flips it around. You can also make it so that there is no target, or the collision mask is something really tiny on the back of it, to make it that much harder for you to actually hit that duck when it's turned around. And basically, in essence, disabling the duck. You would make it so small you couldn't touch it. And you can see, I'm not even going to tell you all the other assets that you have available, but just take a look at it and see what you might do to modify your game and make it an original. So good luck with that. I would love to hear any comments or any posts of anything that you've done with that game. Thank you very much for watching with this tutorial and bearing with me. And stay tuned. I have more tutorials on their way.